Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to the channel where today we are going to continue on with the series where we're covering every single Pink Floyd album from the beginning of their discography onwards. Today we're going to continue things with their 1987 record, A Momentary Lapse of Reason. And before we get started today, I just want to say if you want to see this album reaction completely unedited, check out the description down below. For $5 a month on my Patreon, you get every single Pink Floyd album reaction I have done completely unedited, including this one today. Now, from what I gather, this is the record where Roger Waters has officially left the group at this point, and David Gilmour is taking the stage and really becoming the main creative force of the band, and bringing on Richard Wright, bringing him back after the Wall sessions had him leave the band, given the constraints and kind of difficulties among Roger Waters, which has me interested considering Richard Wright is, in my opinion, one of the best and most underrated members of the band, and it's nice to have him return, especially since I think Roger Waters with The Wall and Final Cut was really pushing it with the theatrical elements that wasn't necessarily up to the standards of their mid-70s output. With that being said, I'm excited to see what David Gilmour does as the main creative force, because of course he is an incredible guitar player and one of the best elements of their music from the mid-70s. So, how is he as a songwriter? How is he as the lead performer? I'm not too sure. So let's just get into it. 11 tracks, 51 minutes of a runtime. First track here, Signs of Life. Let's get into it. Seems like we are floating in the waters. Bit of an ominous synth coming in here. Very alien in tone. This feels like a opening of a sci-fi film of some sort. Definitely one of the more futuristic tracks in the discography so far. So that's Gilmour here. Setting that stage. Such an emotive, commanding guitar. I think it's Richard Wright on the synth, perhaps mimicking him. Like a very ambient opening that just kind of sets the tone. Let's go into this first official track from what I'm gathering. 137 million streams coming up. Learning to Fly. Oh. Right off the bat, much more driven sort of momentum to the rhythm. Is someone getting their pilot's license? Very bluesy kind of play on the guitar here. Like those backing vocals, very light.
bridge. Propellers forward. Lapse set. 10 degrees. Gauges and suction. Check.
Love this kind of, tale of this pilot learning to fly. Perhaps a metaphor for the group. That synth work in the background, very, very light and kind of optimistic in tone. I like the overall atmosphere of this one. It's one of their more happy sounding tracks, I feel like, as far as Pink Floyd goes. Usually they have a brooding sense of maybe dystopian on them. But this one definitely feels far more uplifting than I'm used to from them. Just like this rising kind of optimism, especially with those gospel backing vocals. Great rhythm on that one. Just a fun, uplifting use of flight as well. I believe serving as a metaphor for the group from what I read, trying to figure out their way without Rogers. A great track, I would honestly say. Despite Roger Waters not being part of the group here, that was still a pretty nice one. Here is the Dogs of War. Perhaps retreading territory of themes of war maybe this time around again. Belts it out. I could be wrong, but vocally it feels like he's trying to channel Waters' sort of inflection in his voice. This kind of brooding, repetitive rhythm does feel like it's starting to run its course already. Maybe as another commentary on war, maybe the protagonist here, the narrator, is some sort of world leader trying to justify the actions of this war. I do like that it's finally picked up this swinging sound. Very bluesy in tone. Oh. That sax is beautiful. Cuts right through. That's gotta be John Helliwell. I take back what I said. Yeah, this had a slow start to the track, but certainly has spun things around in the second half. Love the saxophone here. Love the smoky atmosphere. Really feels like Gilmour, with this LP as the main creative lead, is trying to recapture maybe their mid-70s kind of smoky blues tone that they went for on quite a few tracks back then. which I kind of enjoy. It's dropping the theatrics that I thought were a little bit overblown on the wall. I like that one. Let's go into One Slip. Dogs of War, although again, slow start, definitely takes on a much stronger direction that second half. I like the atmosphere as well in this one. A very stark contrast to the ending of the last one. I like the kind of kaleidoscope effect of this one. Oh. Not sure how I feel about that. Yeah, I really don't like this edition of the vocals. I thought it was far more interesting when it was building up that atmosphere in that first minute or so. Just diving right into this section, it feels a little bland and underwhelming with that build-up. Seemed a lot more promising. Ooh, title drop. It's a shame it's in probably the worst song here so far. Ooh, I like this bass. Give that more focus. The instrumental in these portions, the beginning and right here, far more interesting than the instrumental when Gilmour is on the vocals. Want more of this. A bit more funk to it. Man, love that bass. Whoever is our bassist here is killing it. But other than that, I feel like this track is quite a letdown. Vocally, I think Gilmour here is just serviceable. And his passages when he comes in, the instrumental I feel like gets a little too stripped back for my liking. Maybe that was Gilmour, I guess, on the bass guitar, which is not shocking, but fantastic. Loved it. Oh, there's quite a few saxophones. I wonder if I missed the one earlier, but whoever's on the saxophone earlier as well in the track list, fantastic. But instrumentally, I think this LP has some really great moments so far, but lyrically and vocally, it's just serviceable. Let's go into the next one here, which is On the Turning Away. I believe this one's a little bit more popular. 51 million streams on Spotify.
On the turning away, and that you're joining in the turning away.
I feel like how much more emotion there is in this open. And a bit of acoustic leaning as well. Oh, love that. Kind of spilling over there. Really love the spirit of this one. Again, A much more uplifting feeling. I will say a little sappy this time around. I feel like this is one of their sappier tracks. Really feel like this album is just a way for Gilmour to continue with his solos. As you can see here, probably the strongest part of this track is this whole instrumental in the back half. A good groove, very sappy vocals and delivery as well. You know, maybe not my favorite on the track list, but Gilmour still showcasing his impeccable guitar playing, which is really at this point what the main point of the album feels like in a way, because when the instrumental takes over and the lyrics and the vocals kind of go to the side, that's when I feel like most of these tracks really shine. But here is yet another movie. There's a real like airiness to this record as well that does feel like different from everything we've heard in the past from them. Maybe because the last few LPs were a little bit more claustrophobic, but this one does have a bit more of a brooding kind of tone to it all. It's like something is gone awry. I was gonna say this one is far more lyrically. This one feels a little bit more abstract in tone, which seems to be the consensus here. Quite interesting. At first I thought maybe it was about a breakup, then I thought maybe it was about a war. But it feels like the lyrics are very open for interpretation with just how abstract they seem this time around. Just an okay track, really. Maybe some themes of war, given the lines here being sampled. But nothing too extravagant about this track. Let's go right into Round and Around. Segues right into it. This is just a short one. Maybe just providing a segue of sorts between tracks. I like the atmosphere of this track more than what we had in the last track already. The tension is more palpable. It just feels more interesting. But really just feels like a extended outro to yet another movie, which was, I don't know, a bit of an interesting abstract experiment for Waters, or for Gilmour perhaps, but definitely not my favorite in the track list. Probably one of my least favorites. I just feel like it kind of went nowhere with that runtime. Here is A New Machine Part 1. Part of a 3 kind of part from what I'm gathering. Yeah, this is just a pure setup. Some sort. Maybe this is from the perspective of the machine here. This new machine. Maybe some sort of cyborg. I'm not sure. But let's segue into Terminal Frost. An instrumental. Interesting. A 6-minute instrumental. Maybe Gilmour understood that the great strength they have is really just they're playing at this point, I feel like, in a way. Oh, I love that. I'm not sure what that even was. I'm sort of, maybe a sax, I don't know. Oh, but this one. Really showcases those finer moments of the instrumental. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure who this is, but impeccable. Give me more sax with some more prog, you know, I need that. Oh, and these strings? I wonder what that is. Some sort of, maybe a harp or something? And then that very light synth. Nice slight urgency on the mix. Really love the overall tone and atmosphere of this one. Like I said, a much more uplifting, kind of light, airy, kind of instrumental that kind of dominates a lot of the atmosphere of this LP. And I feel like here it's really stretching itself out. I really like this track. Maybe it's because I typically like, you know, formless track, something with less structure, so really let things explore the sound. But that was a nice kind of detour from the album. That segues into a new machine. Sorry, part 2. Only 39 seconds this one. We'll just let it play out. Really could have done without part 1 and part 2 of A New Machine, to be honest. Doesn't offer anything to that middle track there, Terminal Frost. And let's go into the final track here, Sorrow, 8 minutes and 44 seconds. It's been an interesting album so far. I feel like with the lack of Waters, it's kind of forced them to almost reinvent their sound at this point, while retreading territory at the same time. I like the groove on this one. Very hard hitting. Maybe another war-torn track here to close it out. If that's the case, Gilmour really should have left that to Waters, in my opinion. Although I do like the lyrics coming up in this second passage here. Just this man who is kind of frozen, perhaps, in life. I like the shell of a man that we're getting. Very distinct figure. Also, the drum work here, I believe it's obviously Nick Mason. It's got to be his percussion. So much more like kind of bombastic and has like a sense of reverb on it. It kind of reminds me of the drumming from John Bonham, I believe his name is, off of Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti. That album specifically, the drum work on that one, so heavy and kind of has that sense of vibration to it, which this drum, just very aggressive in tone. This one's pretty well paced. We're over halfway through, and it's definitely taken its time, but been very gradual in its delivery. And I love this atmosphere. It's so eerie and tortured in a way. Bit of an abrupt finish lyrically, but definitely the strongest set of lyrics on the album, I would say. Just such a vivid portrayal of this man. A real kind of nasty, brooding mix right here. Love this. This outro is actually so explosive. Just what a groove to ride out on. Ooh, Mason letting go of all sort of control there, just to close it out. And that closes out the track Sorrow, the final track, which closes out a momentary lapse of reason. An interesting album, I will say, only because at this point Waters is out of the group, and it kind of forces the band to attempt to reinvent themselves. Here it seems like they're going into a little bit more of an uplifting direction, despite Sorrow being a very crushing tone to it and having lyrics that feel much more dark and depressive and brooding, especially with that incredible instrumental as well, kind of matching the atmosphere. For the most part, a lot of this track list does feel pretty uplifting and a little bit more optimism in its tone, which is different for Pink Floyd, which is often quite claustrophobic, I would find most of their albums to be. And of course, with Waters gone, they lose a lot of the theatrics, which for me is okay. Personally, like I said, The Wall is an album I'm still very conflicted on. I have a lot of mixed feelings on it. And then Final Cut kind of carried on some of the theatrics, but I think toned them down a little bit more, and in some ways improved upon those elements. But now without Waters, Gilmour seems to be going back to that kind of mid-70s point, so retreading a little bit of that groove territory that they were really finding themselves in, that really let themselves explore the atmosphere a lot more. That being said, it's still far from their strongest work. And I do think at the end of the day, Waters was a very key component to what made the concept of the records and the lyrical standpoints so strong. But Gilmour here, and of course Nick Mason and Richard Wright, do the best they can to put out an album that captures that mid-70s atmosphere while still showing a different direction and a sense of optimism for the band. Do I think this is, as bad as a lot of people say? Definitely not. I've seen some people really bash everything, post The Wall. And A Momentary Lapse of Reason, this is still a pretty solid album. For most artists, this would be, I would say, a great album for them, because a lot of artists aren't on the level of the members of Pink Floyd. So with that in mind, it's still a solid LP. It just feels a little bit misguided and a little bit in a sense of kind of lost in their own sort of atmosphere, trying to make heads or tails of which direction to go in. But all in all, I thought tracks like Sorrow had really incredible lyrics, and do show that Gilmour can be a good lyricist when he really tries to put his best foot forward. But at the same time, tracks like Yet Another Movie feel a little bit too abstract, and feel like Gilmour doesn't really know exactly what he's trying to hone in on lyrically. And overall, I would find most of the lyrics on this album to be the weakest point of the record. And vocally as well, I don't think Gilmour is the strongest vocalist necessarily. Not that I thought Waters always was either, but compared to a lot of their work in the mid-70s, this isn't anything to write home about lyrically or, vocally. But instrumentally, still very strong work and has a lot of great moments. And Terminal Frost as well, a 6-minute instrumental that is, in my opinion, very engaging, and the saxophone work especially is a great welcome surprise to the LP overall. But all in all, there's not much more to say at this point for this record. It's just a decent LP that finds them, kind of struggling to find their image with Waters having left the band. Can't wait to see how things go with the Division Bell, and of course their final LP, which I believe is called Windless River. But I know at the end of the day, Endless River. But I know at the end of the day, they will never, of course, hit their peaks from the 70s. And at that point, I'm okay with it, because, at the end of the day, their 70s output is some of the greatest music ever, in my opinion, especially in the rock territory. So it is what it is. But A Momentary Lapse of Reason, a decent record, and one that I will keep listening to, of course, because I still think instrumentally it's quite strong. But that does it for today's video. If you like the video, please hit like and subscribe to follow along listening to more records alongside myself, more Pink Floyd. Of course, we've got 2 more to go. And if you want to see every single album that I've covered this year, every Pink Floyd album unedited, check out the description down below. For $5 a month, you get every video I've done this year, completely unedited, so you can listen to the full album alongside myself and just enjoy it alongside with me for just $5 a month. But that does it for today's video. As always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off.